everybody. Welcome back to Blah, Blah, Blah. I'm Cicely.
I'm Zulema.
And right now, we're camping.
We are camping. We are connecting with nature.
We are just putting our hands in the grass. And
we're touching grass.
Yes. We just had to get out of the city and touch some grass.
Yeah.
And just feel connected to nature. Actually, no. We just love camping. And last year, Zoo got all this camping equipment because we were like, oh my God, we're going to go camping every weekend. And we went once.
We literally went once.
But it was also the best experience of my life. And everybody's like, oh my God, you guys like are always camping. You're always camping. Oh my God, you guys are so crazy. You're always camping. We've camped once all together. However, we have talked about camping.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. And I have so much equipment and I keep it all under my bed because I have 0 closets.
Do you want to tell a little bit of the equipment that you have?
Do people care? I don't really think that I mean, I have basic equipment, tent, table, campfire, chairs.
Stovetop.
Yeah.
8-person tent. Just some wild things.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy yesterday was kind of making fun of Zoo's tent.
Yeah, I ran into this guy that was also camping here, and I told him which tent was ours, and he said, oh, the house tent?
What about it?
Like, okay, yes, and?
And he goes, how many people? 3, 4? 4, which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
We have 2 air mattresses in there, and they just fit perfectly.
Yeah, it's great.
We couldn't fit any more air mattresses if we tried. Maybe we could go in a different direction.
Yeah.
But where our tent is right now is kind of downhill.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to sleep with our heads like facing down because then we would have woken up dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's just nice to be out here because New York can get very overwhelming. Like, I feel like if you're there for too long, you kind of need to escape.
I totally agree.
And it's funny because I always feel like in the winter, I'm just waiting for summer.
Yeah.
Like, I just need to wait for summer to come in New York and then it'll be so nice. And then the summer comes and it's so hot and there are so many people that I just want to leave. So I'm like, wait, when is the best time to be in New York? I guess fall is nice.
Fall is nice. But that also does kind of segue into like our first topic today.
Yeah.
We kind of just wanted to like talk about things we've been feeling. And Zoo and I recently turned 25.
Yes, we did.
Quarter life, we made it. Barely. No, we made it. And I just feel, at least for me, I feel like I've just been having this quarter life crisis recently. And it literally happened when I hit 25. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit before that, actually. It was like a couple weeks before then. I just feel, this is my 8th year in New York City, which is a long time.
That's a really long time.
And I was listening to NPR, or I read this article, I forget where I saw it, but it was talking about, and it was probably the worst time for it to like come into my vicinity or to my attention. But it was talking about how like when people live in cities, especially New York, 8 years is kind of the cap of what people can handle. Is that what they say? That's what they say. I don't know who they are, but they say it. And it's either like your make or break. So like if you've spent 8 years in New York, you either love it and you're here to stay and you're like, this is my city, I've been here, like this is it, these are my roots. Mm-hmm. Or you're like, I've had enough and I'm done. And then when I saw that article, I was talking to my dad in the morning and I was telling him about it. And it was interesting because he was like, oh, I lasted 8 years and then I was done. So it's like this 8-year mark that I don't even know if it has any significance. Do you think that still
counts if like 4 of those years were college?
I think just because I felt like those 4 years were such a struggle, I think it's almost like harder, you know, when you come during college. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I think it's all like relative too. But I feel like coming during college was so fun, but it was so difficult because you were just thrown in, you know? Like, it's not like you weren't really an adult, but you were expected to behave like an adult, and you were put in a city that was full of adult things to do and adult, like, bills to pay and, like, restaurants to go to and whatever, and then you were just, like, expected to cope. Like, it was so much. It was so overwhelming. And I went to a school that, like, didn't really have a campus, and after going to that school, I realized why colleges have campuses, you know, like you need to make a little community within the college so that it's not as much of a transition for like people coming in, you know, it like kind of creates this little hometown for them. Yeah. Whereas like I went to the new school and I just did not have a campus at all. So I was just like in the city and like I got punched my first week. Like I just like shit hit the fan. So I just felt like for me at least, I feel like those years probably are making it worse, you know, because it was just such a struggle. But then also are making it feel kind of worth it now. Like I went through like 4 years of just like craziness and not hell. It was very fun. But looking back on it, like I would never want to do that again. But I do think it, I don't know, it makes me feel now like I just want something slower.
Yeah, I mean, New York used to be my favorite place in the whole world. I mean, it still kind of is, but I really used to love New York. I have a lot of family here, and so I used to come a lot. And every time I would visit, it was just because I'm from Portland, and so New York felt like there was so much going on. Like it was so exciting. There's always people out. It just felt like a magical land, and every time I came, it just felt magical.
Yeah.
And I think after living in a place, like it did feel like that the first couple of years that I was here, and especially in college because I wasn't in the city. It was fun because we would come on the weekends and, you know, get our little fix in New York and then go back to campus.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I first really started living here, it was like fun in the beginning, and then you kind of get used to it after a while.
Yeah.
And that like magic kind of wears off.
Yeah.
Until like you leave for a while and you realize how special of a place it is. Or like someone will come to visit you and you get to see it through their eyes again, and it's so fun to like show them around and you remember like how much you love it.
No, there's like so many benefits, and like every time I go to Maine, basically I've just been like craving this slower way of life. Like I've been craving just like living in the middle of nowhere in a cabin and like baking, just really like getting back to like back in the day when people would just like sit in their little cabin and like make their little lives for themselves. Like that's what I've been craving, just so much simplicity. And I go up to Maine where my parents live, and I love it and I appreciate it, and I'm like, oh my God, like this life is so amazing. But then I'm also like, I can't do anything. I'm like, what do I do? Like
it's fun I think it's the same thing. It's just because it's new.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you were to be there for a couple of years, you would get sick of it and you would be really bored.
I absolutely agree.
I think I would too.
And I just think there's so many benefits to New York City that just no other city has. I mean, no other, maybe some U.S. cities, but not a lot of like U.S. cities, like public transportation, like walkability. Just like there are so many things that are so hard about New York City. So many things. Like I could make a whole fucking book about it. But there's so many things about it that make it easier, especially at our age, you know? Like, we don't have to Uber home from the bar. We can walk. We can bike everywhere. We can take the subway. Like, everything is so fun. Like, you go to the park and, like, people watching. And it is, like, a really great place for, like, people our age.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you want to leave because out of all of my friends, I feel like you were the one that wanted to stay in New York forever.
Yeah.
You were like, I'm staying in New York till I die.
Yeah, and I probably might. I think also New York is a place that just kind of sucks you in because I feel the same way that you feel, where it's like when I'm not here, but when I'm in New York, I feel overwhelmed and I'm like, I just need to get out. I need to do something. I need to go somewhere else. And then I go somewhere else and I'm like, get me back to New York. Like I need to be back in New York. I miss New York so much. And no other place I've lived so many places. I've moved like 25 times in my life. No other place has that hold on me, you know, like New York City does. And there are so many bad things that happen, but then there's like that one moment. I don't even know what it is, but it's like one moment, you know, like you'll see the sunset beautifully over like a building and you're like, oh, like this is why I'm here. Like this is so great. Or you'll be walking down the street and you'll run into somebody you know. And I'm like, this is why I'm here. Like this doesn't happen anywhere else, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a very special place. I feel like anyone who lives in New York and has lived there for a while has a very love-hate relationship with the city. But
I also just feel like I'm having a quarter-life crisis.
So when did that start?
My quarter-life crisis started, this feels like therapy. It started, I think, I don't know. I feel like I've ebbed and flowed a little bit throughout the last like 4 years of, oh my God, I want to leave or I want to stay or whatever. But I feel like the last like couple of months, like 3 months, I have some news to tell the podcast.
You have a lot of news. Different news.
Yeah, I'm single.
Woo!
Yeah. So that I think really had a part to play in my quarter life crisis because I feel like the person that I was with was a big draw to like why I was in New York City and like what made me stay, you know, because he had no desire to leave. So therefore I had no desire to leave. And now that we're no longer together, I feel like I have the authority to like make these decisions in my life. And I don't have to like think about somebody else or like factor in somebody else's desires and wants. Like I could just do it if I wanted to, you know?
Yeah.
Not that I like
You're not like
before,
basing your
yeah.
life off of someone else.
Exactly. And then I also got a dog.
Woo!
His name is Rufus. They're not gonna be able to see that, but that says Rufus. And it's just, call me a fucking mother, but like I want a better life for my son, you know? I just feel like
Yeah, it's tough to be a dog in New York.
He literally ate shit yesterday, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
A piece of poop off the ground. And it's like I walk him around a park. I have a park near my apartment. And there's like drugs everywhere and like needles. And it's just the things that I have to like look out for him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It must be so overwhelming for a dog.
It
like
must
the
be so
noises
overwhelming.
and the people, and
Yeah.
it just seems like a lot.
It's honestly a great place. He's a puppy, and so it's a great place to raise a puppy, I think, because they get exposed to just about everything. But also it's like, as a mom now, I like want a better life for my son, and I feel like whenever I bring him to Maine, I brought him up once, he was so happy, and then I brought him upstate New York almost. I've
like
gone
every weekend.
I've gone upstate New York like
literally
almost every other weekend for the last couple of months, and he just has so much fun. And it's like I don't have to worry about things on the street, you know. Oh, speaking of, that's him. He wants to say hi. And yeah, so those are my like two major updates.
Yeah,
I guess
those are pretty big. You got a new job?
I got a new job, but they knew about that job because we talked about it like the last episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a new job, kind of settled into that now.
Yeah,
which feels good. But then also that, I don't know. It's like everything in my life, I just feel like has like question mark recently. And I just don't really know. And I'm kind of just floating along, you know?
I feel like that's very normal for where we are right now. Like not a lot of people, I feel like this is the point in people's lives where it's like a couple years out of college and people are questioning whether they want to like continue going down the path that they're going down.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I feel like I had that quarter life crisis like end of last year. Because
yeah, you fucking dipped.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling how you're feeling now about New York last year. And I also didn't have an apartment in New York, so I just didn't really feel like it was my home. And I like went home for a little bit. And I just needed like a slower life. Like I just needed to not do anything for a second because I feel like New York is so obsessed with just being busy and doing things. And it's like none of that really matters if you're unhappy.
Exactly.
Like, okay, you're trying to get a job so that you can pay for your rent, but what's the point of that if you're not even happy?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was feeling like I just needed to like do something different for a little bit. And so I went home for like, I thought it was only going to be literally for like a couple weeks, and then I decided to stay for like 5 months.
Yeah, which honestly,
but like I don't regret that decision
it was
because
great for you.
I was like so happy just being around my family and being at home and just like relaxing and not have to worry about anything for once.
I know.
And well, I guess I was also working on this short film that I was making, so that was like most of what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. But after those 5 months, I felt like excited to go back to New York.
Yeah.
And once I came back, I felt like this renewed sense of excitement for the city.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. And also just like having a new apartment. But now, like, after a couple months, I'm like, I feel kind of antsy to do something new.
Yeah.
Or to travel or something. I don't know.
I know.
But like coming upstate is really nice. And
it's so nice.
I like coming up here.
I just wish I had a car. That's my next like big purchase.
Yeah.
That I'm going to save up for is a car. Because that would change
really
my life.
nice.
If I had wheels, first of all, I'd be hotter. Second of all, my life would be changed.
Yeah, it's hard in New York, though, because then you have to pay for parking and all that.
No, it's such a bitch. But yeah, these quarter life crises, they really be getting us down.
I know. It's crazy.
I know. I think my lease is up in October. And not that I want to leave my apartment because it took me a really long time to find my apartment. Before this apartment, I was living in a hellhole apartment, which I think you guys heard about. And I found this one on TikTok, actually. Like, shout out the girl that DM'd me this apartment. I love my apartment. But it's so expensive. And it's just like, it's hard to be in a place that's so expensive when you don't feel like you're enjoying like every minute of it, you know? Or like to pay for something that is such a cost and such like a financial burden when you're not like extraordinarily happy like in the place, you know?
Yeah.
So I think once my lease is up, or like maybe I'll renew for another year, I'll see how much they like raise my rent. That's also a different question.
Yeah, that's always the question.
It's always the question if they raise my rent and how much. And then I'll kind of like make a decision on what I want to do. But I do think I just need to do something like similar to what you did of just leaving the city for
you
a couple
just
of
have
months.
to leave for a little bit to like, and come back.
I think I just need to like leave for a couple of months. I really want to get my Pilates certification. That's like my goal, my dream. And so I think I'll just like go to Maine, do that for a couple of months, and then come back, and then hopefully have this like new found lease on.
Are you gonna keep your apartment?
New York City life? That is up in the air. I want to. It, again, depends on how much they raise my rent. If they raise my rent, they definitely will raise my rent. And if I can like find a sublet. Like just how, like I just need to see how I feel because I don't want to lose my apartment because I want to come back to New York.
I mean that was I feel like a struggle to get to leave that would you'd have to start that process over.
No, I wouldn't want to start the process over again because I do think I want to come back to New York. I think I'll just have this newfound lease on life. So maybe I don't know. Maybe my mom will come stay in my apartment for a couple of months.
But then you won't be able to see your mom.
That's okay.
I feel like even better.
I'm like score. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yesterday, when we were at Jersey Mike's, we encountered this man.
Yeah. Do you want to tell it?
Sure. Jersey Mike's has my heart. Jersey Mike's.
It's so good. And if you don't like it, you're not getting the right order because I wasn't getting the right order for a long time.
Yeah.
And you just have to get all of the toppings on it and it's insane. Oh my God, I want it right now.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know. I can't even speak about it. Literally get everything on it. Jersey Mike's is my home away from home. Also Margaritaville, but Jersey Mike's is different. It's a different craving. It's a different hit. Anyway, we're in Jersey Mike's, which is literally a chain restaurant. It's not like some hometown, although it feels like it. You know, it feels like you're just on the Jersey Shore getting that sandwich, but it is a chain. And we walked in. We were in, I don't know if we were like upstate New York or where we were at that point.
We were like in Scranton.
By Scranton. And it was like a town. There was an Orange Theory and this like strip mall right next to where the Jersey Mike's was. And we walk in and this guy is like sitting eating his Jersey Mike's and he's like, ugh, hipsters.
Like, excuse me, this is
Jersey Mike's. This is like, dude had to put it in a great way. It's like if we walked into McDonald's and they were like, ugh, hipsters. It's like, we're not ruining your chain restaurant by coming here.
We're not in some local restaurant that's like only locals go to, whatever, in some small town.
We were at Jersey Mike's.
It's a fast food restaurant.
It's like
chill your
Yes, it's
tits.
slow fast food, but it is fast food. It's delicious, but it is fast food. And then what was the second thing he said?
Oh, I forget.
Issa, what was the second thing the guy said about the hipsters? He said, I don't know why they come here. Oh, he goes, I don't know why they come here.
Like, okay.
Because Jersey Mike's is the best.
What?
Butterfly. Because Jersey Mike's is the best place on earth. Anyway.
So, as we know, Cicely, you now have a new dog.
I do.
What's that been like? I feel like the viewers need to catch up on
getting a
your
dog
life.
Has been so incredible. It's also been so incredibly hard, but it's been so incredibly rewarding as well.
You should tell the story about how you got him.
Okay. So, basically, my dream dog is a Brussels Griffon. If you don't know what that looks like, maybe we can put a picture here, or perhaps you can look it up. They look like terriers mixed with like Shih Tzus or pugs or something like that. And they're just my dream dog. But I always like wanted to rescue a dog. I didn't want to like get a dog from a breeder just because there's so many dogs out there that need homes and they're so cute. And so basically backstory, I was dating two people for like 2 years ago. I was dating somebody and then I just finished dating.
I was like, at the same time?
No. And then I just finished dating somebody for 2 years and both of those people were like very against me getting a dog, which I feel like I understand as like my partner, as my boyfriend, to maybe have some reservations of like, that's a really big commitment. Are you sure you want to do it? But it's like, I wanted one so badly and I felt like I was ready. And I felt like there was always somebody in my life like telling me, no, you can't do that. Or like, I don't know. I just didn't like that. So when my boyfriend and I broke up, I was like, I want to get a dog. Like, I'm so ready to get a dog. I've been ready for a dog for like 4 years. I want one. And
Yeah, you've been talking about it for a long time.
I've wanted a dog for so long, and there was always like someone holding me back from getting one. Anyway, my sister...
I don't think it was necessarily like the person.
No.
Like, I think it was just like, it wasn't the right time. It wasn't, you weren't in the right, it just wasn't the right timing.
It was not the right timing for a dog. Absolutely. But I also do think it's like never the right time. You kind of just like have to do it. And that's what I kind of did with Rufus is I was telling my sister, if you ever need a dog, like literally hit up my sister because she will find you a dog. She found like all of our childhood dogs. She's just such a good girl on the computer. Like she will find you what you need to find. Mm-hmm. And she sent me this dog. His name was Loki, Loki. And he's from a rescue called Muddy Paws. And I followed them on Instagram a little bit, but I wasn't really looking at their stuff. And I was just kind of seeing some of their dogs, but none of them like were catching my eye. And also it's so hard when you see like a dog online. It's so easy to be like, I don't know, like maybe. Yeah. And also you have to see the personality. But also when you see them, you don't really, the personality could change, whatever. So I went to go see him. He was going to be at this like Petco X Muddy Paws event on a Saturday, May 11th. And I went, and Zoo came, and G came. My mom was actually coincidentally in town for Mother's Day, which was the next day, which made me feel so good because it's so hard to like make a big decision like that, like without your mom or like without authority or someone.
I still ask my parents to make dentist appointments for me. I'm like, literally. I feel like such a child.
I know. So I like was so happy my mom was there, else I maybe wouldn't have pulled the trigger. And I got there, and there was, you can do like a pre-adoption, fill out your forms, which is what I did. And then you get approved to adopt, but you can't, like, he wasn't available to adopt online. He was only available to adopt, like, at this event thing. And so we went to this event, and I went to go sign up to see, like, oh, can I look at him? And they were like, oh, there's 2 people ahead of you, like, who have meetings. And they were like, unfortunately, like, if they like him, like, they get first pick on him if they want him. And, like, this boy was so cute. Like, when he came out, he was so cute. Like, they pulled up the little thing. He was in his little crate. Everybody was like, oh my God, who's Loki? Who's Loki? He's so cute. And I felt very territorial. And I went up and I was like, please. And then they were like, we'll see what happens, whatever. And then they came up to me and they were like, the first 2 people canceled their appointments. Like, they didn't show up. They're like, you're up. You're first. And I was like, and they like brought me my little adoption matchmaker or whatever over, which was this really cute guy. And then they brought Loki over, and he was, like, so cute.
It's so weird to think of him as Loki. Like, he's not Loki.
He's not Loki. His name's Rufus. So they brought Rufus over, and he had so much energy. And it was really hard because, like, he was, like, pent up in this cage. Like, he couldn't touch the ground because he had just finished getting his shots. It was very overwhelming. It was hot. Like, I was just like, I don't know. Yeah. But I looked at him, and I was like, this is my man. Like, the second I saw him in his crate, I was like, that's my man. He had this little underbite. He was sitting ever just so, sitting pretty, waiting for me to come get him. And I adopted him that day. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't touch the ground, so I had to carry him through Petco when I got all of his stuff. And then I went home with him, and my mom, bless her heart, stayed with me for a week and a half when I first got him, which was such a savior. If I wouldn't have had her, it would have been very, very difficult. It's nice to have 2 people. And yeah, my mom helped me out so much, and I couldn't have done it without her, genuinely. I did like the crate training, which was such a bitch the first week. Also, the first day that I got him, he literally, he like wouldn't go in his crate. He was kind of being a bad boy about that. I got the worst sickness I've ever had in my life the first day that I got him. Like, worse than COVID, worse than strep throat. It was awful. Like, I had the worst sickness. I don't know what, it was like some virus that went around. It like ended, it covered everything on the spectrum. Like, I ended with an eye infection. It was just the worst thing ever. So and then my mom also got it too from me. So we were both so sick dealing with this puppy. But if I could get through that, I was like, I can get through anything. And now he's like fully potty trained. I've had him for, I guess, like a month and a little bit now. He's fully potty trained. He is fine on a leash, and he knows all his tricks, and he's just like such a good boy.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
It's just so crazy, like, having an animal.
I know.
And having something in your care.
It's like you just have to always be thinking about him. Like, he's up here for the camping trip. Yeah. He's actually been really good. He slept through the night.
Slept the entire night. He's such a little snuggler. He's so well behaved, except for when he sees a dog, because he really loves dogs. He's a slut for dogs.
Yeah, he gets so excited.
He gets so excited and starts like barking. But But he's just like so good, and I feel so lucky that I got such a good boy. He's just so kind, and I got so lucky with him, and I'm so happy. Got so lucky. And it's so nice genuinely coming home and having like somebody be excited to see you.
Yeah, that must be nice.
That's like the most unbelievable feeling ever, and like it was worth everything that was difficult in the beginning of having him. It was like just coming home and he was so excited to see me. It just makes me feel like I have a purpose, and I understand why people have kids.
Right.
You know? And it feels good to take care of something.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got that. Like technically I got him May 11th. My 25th birthday was May 27th. So I'd say that he was like my birthday present for myself, which was great.
Yeah.
I was going to name him Cowboy. That was like my dream name to name my dog. But I looked at him and he did look like a cowboy, but something about it just wasn't hitting.
Yeah, it didn't suit him.
It didn't. It's just the thing is you never know what you're going to name. I mean, same for the kid probably. You never know what you're going to name a dog until you get them and you look at them. And everybody was always like, just look at him and you'll figure it out. And I'm like, no, I really want to name him Cowboy. Like that's been my dream name forever. Like I want to name him that. And it was really hard to let go of that.
Yeah.
And then one of my like really good family friends looked at him and I was like, what do you think his name is? And he's like, Rufus. Easy. And I was like, oh my God, he is a Rufus.
It does really suit him.
He's just so funky looking. He has a mohawk, an underbite.
Yeah.
He's just so funky. And he's a doofus. So he's Rufus the doofus. And he's my best friend.
Yeah, he's great.
Speaking of cowboys though.
Yes, you're looking for a cowboy.
I'm on the hunt for a cowboy.
If any of you guys know a cowboy,
slide
hit us up.
the DMs, please.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were driving up to, I don't know what it is about a cowboy, honestly. I just think I need to be like taken care of by a cowboy. I also just like their lifestyle. I love horses and just, I don't know, get me on that truck. You know?
They're just
that's all I have to say.
I feel like they're the opposite of a New York City boy.
Exactly.
Which is probably why you find them so attractive.
That's probably why I want a cowboy. I want a cowboy so badly.
Like someone who doesn't care about what they're wearing to Times Square.
No, I don't want anybody like that. But I still want you to look cute, you know?
Yeah.
But I think cowboys
you want like a Bella Hadid boyfriend.
Yeah, but I don't think hers is attractive. I wouldn't want that type of cowboy. I don't think her boyfriend is, I don't know. He's not my type. I need more like, think about like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, obviously, everybody wants that. But, like, that type of cowboy. Like, Matthew McConaughey when he was, like, in Dazed and Confused. But not his character in Dazed and Confused. But, like, that era of him, I really like. And we were driving up here yesterday, and it's kind of, like, windy roads to get up. And there was this, like, motorcycle gang behind us on the road. And I swear one of them was so beautiful. And he was such a cowboy. He had cowboy boots on, jeans. He's on this motorcycle. He had like a white helmet on, which was like a vintage. It looked really cool. He had a mustache and he looked like he would be tall. And I literally did all that I could do.
Well, Cicely was like, oh my God, he's so hot. And I was confused because I couldn't even see what he looked like. He had a whole helmet on and he was like 50 yards behind us.
I saw him in my mirror.
No, there's no way because your eyesight is worse than mine and I couldn't see him.
I literally don't know what was going on. I saw him. I saw what I needed to see, probably.
He was probably like 70.
I don't think so. And then he waited for all his friends, which I thought was a very good like character trait.
Cicely was flirting with him by like putting her hand out of this window.
I put my hand out the window and I was like going like this. And he didn't
receive what she was putting down.
Yeah,
he's not the one. If he wanted to, he would, and he didn't.
The thing is, if they wanted to, they would. If he wanted to, he would have seen my hand flirting and been like, that's my girl.
Yeah.
I'm going to go follow her.
This morning, we went to town to get some coffee and food, and there's a car show happening.
Which is insane.
Which is crazy. So there's all these old cars.
And old men accompanying the cars.
And old men who all look the same. And we went to this weird, like, healthy restaurant place.
Yeah.
And we got
It's the only place open, by the way.
Yeah, the only place open. We ordered the gluten-free pancakes because I'm gluten-free. And they looked like bird food. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was like the strangest pancake I've ever seen.
It looked like you took a bunch of bird seed and you mixed it in some water and like the starch from the bird seed kind of came out, you know?
Yeah.
And then you just kind of fried that on the pan. oh my God, fried that on a pan.
But it tasted really good.
It was like they put enough cinnamon in it to make it really good.
Yeah, but also the prices were kind of crazy. Everything was $19.
Everything was $19, but then...
Yeah, but then...
we got our check, and it was not
I was expecting
right.
it to be like $70.
Yeah, and it was like with tax, $38.
Yeah.
Which did not add up at all.
It did not add up, and I think it's because she forgot to add an item to
yes, which was a tofu scramble, which... I'm sorry. This was like there was a lime wedge on this
It was
plate.
like pieces of tofu and lettuce.
It was like 4 chunks of tofu, a salad. There was lentils. It was all like in sections. And then there was a zucchini on the bottom with a lime wedge on top. What was that going to be used for?
It was really weird. And so honestly, I think we got our money's worth. I was not going to tell her to add that back on.
Absolutely not. I was not.
She was also such a strange character.
I bit my tongue. I literally bit my tongue. She was she had 2 stars on her face, and I couldn't tell if it was like pimple patch stars, like what are those, like the star face? But they were on almost like her dimple area, and I was like, that might be
just for decoration.
And then she came out to bring us our check, and she like almost fell down the it was just the most bizarre experience.
Yeah, it was very strange, but it kind of fits Tannersville.
Yeah, it fits Tannersville. And also there was so many old men on the street that we were people watching. Mm-hmm. And it was just so funny. Like the things we heard people say, like there was this group to our right of just these oldies, like just men that looks like they've been ripping cigarettes for about 45 years and have just been driving around these cars, like inhaling these fumes, you know, that vibe. Like tank top, farmer's tan, whatever. And probably so hot, like probably so my type 35 years ago, you know? And
like more.
Yeah, probably more. And these 2 oldies on our right were like, I knew I heard trouble or something like that. And then we looked to our left, and this like old man who's barely making it along is like hobbling around, and that was the trouble they were talking about.
See, that's what I love about a small town, is that you know everyone.
Yes.
They're like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah.
Everyone knew
hey,
each other.
Suzanne, whatever. I would love, I mean, it honestly is kind of like that in New York. I feel like I run into people all the time, especially people I don't want to see.
Exactly.
But I don't know, there's something about like the community in a small town that is really nice. And I feel like that's what I miss from New York, is like that sense of community.
Yeah.
It's like you can get it, but it definitely feels very isolating a lot of the times.
Yeah, it does. I think it's also like just this actual like architecture of the buildings and the city, and
oh my god,
you're getting a farmer's tan. You're turning into the man we saw today.
God. I've been getting like really bad burns. I need to put on sunscreen or something.
Am I Zoo? I like not to flatter myself because I never even tan.
No.
Fuck. Okay.
Sorry.
Whatever. Anyway,
maybe you are and I can't see it.
It's fine. Whatever. I do feel like even the structure of the New York City like apartment buildings are so isolating themselves. Like you're in these tall things in these buildings.
I've seen my neighbor multiple times and we don't say anything to each other.
I know. I've seen my neighbors. What? Our doors like literally touch each other. Super. Yeah, your super is a king.
Super.
He's literally super.
My super.
I love my maintenance man, Gregory. He's great. You do make like little elements of community, I feel like, within your buildings and stuff, but you really have to like put yourself out there to do that. It's not like neighborhoody, you know. Yeah. You have to like put in an effort. Yeah. But when you do put in an effort, like people receive it, I think, which is great.
Yeah, but anytime we're out now, we're looking for a boyfriend, which is, we were on the hunt today.
We saw Margella.
We saw a boy wearing Margella, but he might have been too young for us.
The thing is, I'm 25, so are Yuzu. I still feel like I'm 19, 22. I have been feeling this thing, which I wanted to talk about actually on the podcast, where recently I've just been feeling so old. That also went with my midlife crisis vibe.
Really?
Of like, I'll look in the mirror and I just feel old. And I also will be like walking around the streets, or I'll be in Dime Square or wherever, and I look around to all the people around me and I'm like, you're so much younger than me.
I feel old when I see people that are younger. Like, for sure. Like people in college.
Like, I feel
or like right out of college. Yeah. I don't feel old until I see them, and I feel like a completely different person than them.
I feel like a loser.
I don't necessarily feel like a loser. I just feel
like a loser.
Like, wow, I am not in that stage of life anymore. And you don't really realize that until you're not in it.
I just feel like it hit me like a brick truck. Like it just literally, I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, I am so old.
Yeah.
I'm so old. And I know I'm not old, genuinely. I know I'm 25 and that's so young, but I've never in my life felt like I've seen myself age, Like I'm starting to get like little wrinkles and like little things, you know, like my face is changing a little bit and my body's changing a little bit. And like, I just feel myself getting older. And I think that's just like it's crazy because it's something, I was talking to my sister about this. Hello.
Okay.
ASMR. ASMR. Oh. Okay. I've just never, this is not something I've ever experienced in my life. This feeling of feeling like I'm getting old.
I felt this way when I turned 20.
That's
like
crazy.
Entering your 20s, I remember turning 20 and I felt so old.
I just like didn't feel like uncool or like I felt like, okay, I'm aging, but I was like...
I didn't feel uncool. I just felt... So you're saying you feel uncool?
No, I don't know how to
you're
describe
old?
it. I feel like a little uncool, out of touch. Like my face is changing. And just like a little like disconnected, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel like. And I feel like I look around to people and I'm just like, you look so much younger than me. Like you, like a little less confident, I guess, is what I'm trying to say too. And I've never felt this way before because it's like, even when I turned like 23 to me is still young.
Yeah.
22 is still young. 24 even is still young. 25, I don't know. I just had this like moment of like my whole life. Yes, I've been getting older, but I've never really like, I've always been getting like, looking more like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like when you grow up, you're like reaching this plateau. And I feel like my plateau, not that I've stopped, not that I peaked or anything like that, but I feel like at 22, 23, you're kind of like, okay, like you're at the oldest age, but you still like look your best, you know? Mm-hmm. And then after that, for me at least, I feel like, okay, I'm just like going, like I'm on that path to just like look old. Not like going down and looking bad, but you're just like looking older.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
And I just feel that recently. And that's something I've never felt my whole life, you know? And it's like a feeling, I don't even know how to put it into words, but it's like a feeling I'm trying to grapple with of like, you're aging, Cicely. You're getting older, obviously. Everybody does. You're like gonna get wrinkles. Like I just feel like these things are coming. And I've never in my life felt like those things were coming because I always felt so young, you know? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, you are getting older, but that's not a bad thing.
No, and that's the thing is like I'm not afraid of getting older. Like I'm not afraid of being like 60. I like hope I make it to 60. You know, like I just I'm not afraid of wrinkles. I'm not afraid of like going gray or anything like that. It's just recently I have just been feeling old.
Yeah, I feel like what I realized this past year is that, or like what I got out of like my midlife crisis moment was that what matters to me is like the relationships I have in my life. Like that's what brings me joy, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day. Like careers in the end of when you're on your deathbed, like you're not going to be like, oh, I'm so glad that I got so far in my career. Or I did this. I mean, you might care a little bit, but I think what really matters to me is the friends that I have in my life, like my family, like the relationships. And I feel like I had that realization this year that as long as I have good relationships in my life, like that's really all that matters to me.
No, it's so true.
Like that's what's going to make me happy in the end. It's not going to be like how much money I have, like the apartment I have, what city I'm in.
Yeah.
It's like I'm happiest when I'm around people that I love.
Yeah, and I think that's like also just like the basis of life.
Yeah.
At least for like us or me or you.
Yeah.
Because like at the end of the day, that's all you have are the people that you've like cultivated these relationships with. And that's like a job in and of itself.
No, it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do still want to find my cowboy.
It's going to happen for you. I believe it.
The thing is, I am setting... Our first podcast episode was about reducing your expectations.
Now we're
not that I want to
reduce your expectations higher.
Not that I want to reduce my expectations, but I do live... I think I have to be realistic. I live in a city. I live in New York City. Where the fuck am I going to find a cowboy? You know?
Oh, you're definitely not finding your cowboy in New York.
I need like a rhinestone cowboy. I need like an urban cowboy.
Yeah.
I need like a man who like maybe used to like be a cowboy and like came to the city because he like wanted to like do something else.
Yeah.
My mom's dad, my mom grew up in like rural Colorado. I can't say that word. Rural Colorado. And her dad was a sheep, like her dad, he wasn't a sheep farmer, but he like collected like sheep's fur and would like come to New York City and sell it to all of the clothing places and rug places and whatever and blanket places. So like that's kind of what I need to find. Somebody who like does business here or in New York, but is from a rural area.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on our outdoor adventure.
Sorry if it was a downer with all my midlife crises talk.
Yeah. Sorry. This is just
how
we're feeling.
What I'm feeling right now, which is why I think we put you on a beautiful backdrop, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just listen to the birds.
Listen to the birds. Tune us out because
honestly,
we're like going through it. But we hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the long hiatus in between episodes.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like that again.
Yeah, to be honest.
But we thought we'd give you guys a little treat. So
yeah.
Here you go. Also, G's in LA.
Yeah, G's in LA. She'll be back.
We should have mentioned. Yeah.
We got to keep the train chugging.
We just got to keep this thing moving. Anyway, my dog is whimpering at me, so I have to go. Love you guys. Kisses.
Bye. Kisses.